Some ghost stories send shivers down your spine. But these are the kind that stay with you long after the lights go out. Tonight we dive into 4 absolutely disturbing ghost stories, tales of horror, mystery, and the unexplained. Viewer discretion is advised. Story 1. The Forgotten Room. Setting: a young couple, James and Sarah, move into an old Victorian house in a remote town. The house is massive, but they quickly realize something strange. There's a locked door in the hallway. That wasn't on the house's blueprint. One night, James hears a faint knocking coming from the locked door. Thinking it might be a draft, he ignores it. But the knocking grows louder each night. Sarah, skeptical at first, starts noticing their dog refuses to go near the door. One evening they hear crying from inside. A child's voice whispering, "Please, help me." Unable to ignore it any longer, James breaks the lock. The door creaks open to reveal a fully furnished nursery covered in thick layers of dust. A rocking chair moves on its own. On the crib, they see the name Eleanor carved into the wood. They search the house's history and discover that in the 1800s, a little girl named Eleanor was locked in this very room by her insane mother, left to die. The mother claimed her daughter had the devil inside her. That night, Sarah wakes up to the sound of a lullaby coming from the nursery. The rocking chair moves violently and the crib is empty. Suddenly, a cold hand grabs James's wrist, and a child's voice whispers in his ear, "Why did you open the door?" The door slams shut on its own, trapping them inside. The last thing they hear is a mother's scream. Story 2. The Man in the Reflection. Setting: a university student, Kevin, moves into a cheap apartment near campus. His only furniture is an old dresser with a large mirror. After his first night, he notices something unsettling. His reflection lags, moving a second too late. He dismisses it as exhaustion. But as the days pass, the reflection starts doing things he isn't. One night, while brushing his teeth, he sees his reflection staring at him, even though he's looking down. He tests it, raising a hand slowly. The reflection does not move. Then it smiles. Terrified, Kevin covers the mirror with a bedsheet. But that night, he hears soft tapping coming from behind it. In a panic, he researches the apartment's past. He finds a news article. The previous tenant had vanished without a trace. His only belongings left behind? A mirror. Determined to get rid of it, Kevin smashes the glass. But as the shards fall, he sees something horrifying. His reflection is still there, watching from the broken pieces. The reflection mouths 2 words before disappearing. Not yet. Story 3. The Whispering Woods. Setting: a group of friends goes camping in a dense forest. Despite warnings from locals about strange occurrences, they laugh it off as superstition. At night, while sitting around the fire, they hear faint whispers. It sounds like their names, but when they call out, there's no response. The whispers grow louder, now sounding like overlapping voices in agony. One friend, Mike, wanders away from the group to investigate. Minutes later, they hear him scream. They rush toward the sound, but Mike is gone. Only his flashlight remains, flickering. Panic sets in as they attempt to leave, but the forest seems endless. No matter which direction they walk, they end up back at the campsite. Then they see figures emerging from the trees, shadowy, faceless silhouettes. The whispers turn into agonized screams. A cold voice echoes, You were warned. The next morning, a search party finds the campsite, but no sign of the friends, except for a camera. The last recording shows the group running, their screams cut off by static. Story 4. The roommate who wasn't there. Setting: a woman named Lisa moves into a new apartment with a roommate, Claire. At first, things seem normal, until Lisa starts noticing Claire acting. Strangely, Claire stays up late, whispering in her room. She never seems to eat. And sometimes Lisa hears two voices coming from Claire's room. Even though she lives alone, one night, Lisa wakes up to find Claire standing at her bedside, staring. "You shouldn't be here," Claire whispers. Terrified, Lisa confronts her the next day. But Claire just smiles eerily and says, "I never had a roommate." Confused and scared, Lisa calls the landlord, only to be told that the apartment has been vacant for years. There was never a Claire. Lisa rushes to Claire's room, but it's empty, dust-covered, untouched for decades. Then, she hears Claire's voice behind her. "I told you. You shouldn't be here." The screen cuts to black. Narrator, whispering. Some ghosts haunt houses. Some haunt mirrors. But the scariest ones? They haunt people. These were 4 absolutely disturbing ghost stories. And if you ever hear a whisper in the dark, don't answer.